I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Maria, would you lead us in invocation, please?
Dear Father God, we are gathered here to serve you today. Give us knowledge and strength to do your will, with a proper balance of eternal values and our present needs. May we accept our responsibilities and act with courage, considering the good of all. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Maria. All right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And Pilar, establishment of a quorum.
Chairman, you have 6 members present.
Okay.
You have
Well,
quorum.
again, it's good to see everybody this afternoon, and thank y'all for being here. Where did he go? I was going to say it's always good. Oh, there he is. It's always good when we have a text out in the room. So, Mr. Alvarez, without not pointing out anybody else, I appreciate all of y'all being here, and definitely Pete. Last time I saw you in the room, something kind of special happened, and you swore me in. So, am I getting sworn out today, or what's going on? Okay, I appreciate you being here. Pilar, let's go ahead. Go on to our workshop items.
Yes, Chairman and Directors, the first item on your agenda under workshop is a legislative update from Rene Ramirez with Pathfinders. He's going to give an update on the regular and special sessions that were held this year and as it relates to the authority's legislative agenda.
All right. Come on up, Mr. Rene. Good to see you.
Good evening, afternoon. Rene Ramirez with Pathfinder Public Affairs, and thank y'all for allowing us to go ahead and be with you today. I have Amanda Sidani, who's the real boss of Pathfinder, so she's part of our team. And we proudly represent y'all in Austin. We moved to Austin every session, spent a little more time there than we really wanted to this past year, or early this year. We work very closely with your team, Mr. Rodriguez, Blakely, Ramon, in making sure that the interests of the entity are being delivered in Austin. And I'll start by saying that the session that we just experienced, the first regular session and the 2 specials, were probably the most challenging that I've ever experienced. And I've been doing this since '97. The climate is changing in Austin, as you all read and you see and you hear. And things are getting more difficult and difficult and difficult. The challenges are changing almost, very, very rapidly. And what we do for y'all is take your agenda and try to go ahead and achieve it. And then also track legislation. We either try to modify it, we try to pass it, or we try to kill it, depending on the nature and the desires of the client. And I gave you some information that's in your packet that is a lot more than just transportation. And the purpose of that is so that you can get a feel for the big ticket items that the leadership wanted to go ahead and work on. And a lot of them are all over the spectrum. And what changes this regular session from previous ones is that the governor has the ability to go ahead and call certain items an emergency. And he did on 7 of them. Everything relating from vouchers to property tax reform, bail, cybersecurity. And what changes in that is that he is able to allow the legislature to advance these issues quickly so that they can go ahead and get to his desk a lot quicker. Most bills have to wait a period of time before they can even be debated on the floor. So what does that mean for us? Well, we had to go and spend a lot more time early in Austin and be there Sunday through Friday. So having experienced that, going through it, there was a handful of issues that didn't pass, and they called the first special session. And then, there was a quorum break. And then they went ahead and called the second one. And they went ahead and got the items that the governor and leadership wanted to go ahead and get adopted done. I know in a minute here, when y'all go to executive, I think we're going to go ahead and get into the weeds on some of the local issues that we were trying to go ahead and address. But in the meantime, I just wanted to go ahead and thank y'all for allowing us to be part of the team. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to go ahead and answer them.
Questions, anybody? Like you said, I know we'll cover some
Yes, sir.
specific items in executive session, but otherwise, I appreciate the work you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, we can't do what it is that we're trying to do here without help, like people capable people like yourselves. So thank you for that. And if I hear no questions, then we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Chairman Directors, next item on your workshop agenda, number 2, is review of the proposed interlocal agreement with Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority to provide back office services for the 365 tollway. Today, as you recall, we had a special meeting a couple weeks ago regarding this item. Andrew Cadmus with HDR, who's our tolling consultant, has a PowerPoint presentation to go over the history of all the options that we considered before we landed with this recommendation to go with Cameron County RMA. And so I'll ask Andrew to come up and walk the board through probably a couple of years, 2 or 3 years of working through these issues and about a year of negotiation with Cameron County RMA.
Good afternoon. So we're here to talk a little bit about the history of and options in procuring back office tolling services. As you'll recall, about a year ago, we awarded a contract to CSA to do the roadside services. I'm going to skip that. So to just get us on the same page in what we're talking about here, you see the roadside system element. That is CSA's contract. Right now, they have started installing equipment along the 365 tollway. That equipment will detect vehicles, classify those vehicles by size, take pictures of the license plates if there is no transponder, or record the transponder and create a toll transaction. The next step is what happens to that toll transaction and how that gets processed. That goes into what they call the back office system. It's comprised of 2 things: the actual system, which is the software, but also the customer service center, where people are calling to update their accounts and pay their toll bills. So we talked through some options. This is probably a year and a half to 2 years ago. And we decided to pursue an option to look for a partner to provide those back office services. So here are the 3 options. 1, HCRMA self-perform. We go out and we procure a back office system. We procure a vendor who will operate and staff a call center and customer service center. Number 2, we partner with a third party. Like I just mentioned, it could be another county agency. It could be somebody else in the state, but somebody who else is doing tolling already in the state. The third option is partnering specifically with Cameron County RMA and piggybacking on their agreement with Harris County Tollway Authority. So we'll walk through these 3 options. To understand the scope of these services, this is kind of another diagram which kind of shows how information flows. The top there is the roadside system with HCRMA. We provide transaction information to this third-party back office. It processes it. It sends invoices to a mail house. It posts tag transactions or transponder transactions to account. That could be Easy Tag or Text Tag or even Oklahoma Tag. Goes to accounts through that back office. They also provide the customer service center. And then there's also a collections component. So if somebody does not pay their bill on time after multiple attempts to collect, it may go to collections as well, in accordance with Texas statute. So here's the option that's in front of us today, is working with an existing agreement between Cameron County RMA and Harris County. Harris County is a very well-established back office and toll system operator. They actually operate the back office for Text Tag, as well as other counties within the state, including Cameron County. What Cameron County has done is it went to HECTRA and said, we've got we've got a unique region here where we're going to be collecting tolls. We would like to brand it differently. We would like to brand it for the region, but we would like to piggyback on Hectra's already built systems and processes. And Hectra and Cameron County came to agreement, and they created the Fuego tag. It's a transponder that is put into the window to make paying your toll really easy through prepaid accounts. Hectra is using another instance of their back office system to process these transactions for them. It's great economies of scale. Harris County processes tens of millions of transactions each year. So the purple elements there are actually things that Harris County would be doing. Again, the software system, posting to accounts, and doing the mail house, and routing transactions to what they call the central hub. That's how we get interoperability with Oklahoma, Kansas, and other agencies. The unique thing here is Cameron County would be providing the customer service center. They already have a staff of, I think, about 12 customer service center folks who are answering the calls, who are processing mail for their system. And they're going to continue to do that. It's more of a local service, which is nice to have for our region, for the Fuego tag that they're operating. And then they have a contract with Line Barger to do collections. So any questions? Any questions so far? Okay, so I'm going to get into kind of the fee agreement that CCRMA has with Hectra. It is a flat fee of $30,000 per month. That $30,000 pays for all of the transaction processing up to a maximum revenue of $7 million a month. For perspective, right now, Cameron County is only processing about $500,000. So there's a lot of capacity there. There's a lot of contract capacity. We would add maybe another $300,000 in revenue on top of that in the early years. Obviously, that grows over time. But like I said, it's going to take a while before we hit that $7 million cap. Once we do, it's there's another small fee on top of that for each, another $50,000 for each $1 million in revenue processed over that. Again, we don't think we're going to be hitting that cap for many years. Cameron County has, in our draft ILA agreement, which they have executed, we would Cameron County is going to cover that entire $30,000 payment. So $0 for us until we go over, or until the total revenue processed goes over 7 million. This is just an example of how that math works. I'm sure that there's a proportional allocation of that 50,000 based on the revenue that's processed over that point. And you can take a look at that in your packets there. There's another fee for the hub. Like I mentioned, there is a central US hub. This is Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, and all of the other agencies or tolling entities that operate in Texas belong to this hub, send what they call away transactions there, and that is processed. It's a really nice way for tags from all over the state to be able to be accepted on any other toll road within the state. There's a small fee for that. This is a pass-through cost. The cost is agreed upon by all of the members of the hub. I believe it's every 2 years. They just agreed to not change this fee. It's 5 cents per transactions plus 3% of the toll amount. Again, this really covers credit card fees and things of that nature. It's an at cost how these agencies allocate costs across the board. So what are our other costs? CCRMA is providing the customer service center. Like I said, they already have about 12 customer service agents. When we add all of our transactions for processing, they may need to add some more customer service representatives, some more people to answer the phones. We are going to pay, we're going to share in that customer service cost based on the proportion, the number of transactions being processed. We anticipate that within the first couple of years, they will probably need to hire another 6 customer service representatives. That's based on our own forecasts, and I'll show you that in our independent forecasts, as well as what CCRMA is telling us they think that they're going to need as well. So here's what CCRMA is covering versus what HCRMA would need to contribute if those full 6 staff are needed. Again, Cameron County is agreeing to pay for back office specialists, toll clerk, supervisor, continue to pay their 8 CSRs and 2 lead CSRs with no additional cost to us. If needed, we would add CSRs and pay, again, proportional to the percentage, our percentage of toll transactions. Here's a forecast of what we think that cost will look like over time, looking at the transactions and how they're expected to grow. I think this is the meat and potatoes right here. So we think that this is an ideal situation. We have a neighboring county who has an existing back office tolling system and agreement. They are agreeing to onboard us with no upfront cost. That all of the image based transaction processing is going to be covered within the $30,000 that they are paying. So we don't have to pay any of that. We are going to need to purchase some transponders to provide to the public or sell to the public, but at a reduced fee based on the agreement that CCRMA has developed with HCRMA. Customer service, we think we're rounding it to about $400,000 per year. Again, it's only if we really see a need to increase the customer service representative numbers and to fund local customer service. So this is going to save about $500,000 in capital costs and about $115,000 annually over time versus going with a different third party. We did evaluate Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority's costs. We talked to NTTA. We even talked to HCRMA about engaging with them directly instead of going through CCRMA. They were all more expensive options. This is our independent forecast of customer service representatives. Again, HDR, we believe that maybe only 5 are needed in the first few years, growing to 6 in later years. Again, we'll keep an eye on the metrics and make sure the customers are being taken care of. Summarizes things I've already said. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Are there any questions?
I don't hear any questions, but a couple of comments I guess I'll make. First of all, and I apologize, I'm struggling. Tell me your first name again.
Andrew.
Andrew. Okay, Andrew. Andrew, you know, we appreciate having this, or I appreciate, and I think I can speak for the board here, and having this in front of us and the detail that it's given us. I think we got a little ahead of ourselves last meeting where staff kind of remembered that this was presented. It's not the first time that the quote board has seen it. However, you know, we've had a fair amount of turnover on the board, several new board members, me included, that hadn't seen something like this when this was first first shown to us at the last meeting. So it's good information. I appreciate that. In terms of, you know, just kind of big picture, I would say, given the options in terms of what we might have done, uh, you know, this particular option bubbling up to the top, I guess you've heard me say since day one that I set up here that I believe that not only all of us here within our own county, but all of us within our MPO region of the valley need to act, you know, cooperatively and need to act in a regional fashion. And so I really buy into that. And so the idea that there's a scenario here that allows us to partner, if you will, with Cameron County. Hopefully, it is beneficial. It is going to be beneficial to them to have bring us on board. But it looks like that now, after getting the information and being able to study it a little more, that it's a very viable and a good path, and does demonstrate that regional cooperation. So I do appreciate that. I wanted to mention that. You know, there could be a multitude of questions, but, you know, they're already doing it. So whether it's approved, you know, all of those types of things, you know, we don't like it, we can get out. All of those kinds of things give me comfort. And so I don't personally have any further questions, but open it up to any other board member here that may want to ask questions or make a comment.
Thank you, Chairman. If you don't mind, Andrew, Michael Williamson, thanks for being here today. I just had a few questions. When it comes to, let's say, website, if you have any type of monitoring, road closures, things like that, would you all present that information out, or how do we go about that? Who informs the public of any closures on the highway, on the 365 tollway in this particular example?
So that would not be, well, we'd have to talk to Cameron County about that. I think that would be probably a separate method of communication besides the Fuego
That's not
tag.
included in any of this right now, like alerts, things like that,
No,
road
sir.
closures, stuff like that. Okay, fantastic. Because I did look at the Harris Harris County website, and they do have some type of alerts. And the Harris County, seems like they provide that maybe for themselves. So I didn't know if that actually was drawn down to our local jurisdiction also, or would be included in this package.
I think so. I should say that this ILA gives us the ability to move forward with the more detailed design process. So we're going to be developing additional requirements for the system and how the two systems will interact. And there's definitely opportunities to talk to Cameron County and say, you know, on your Fuego website, this is representing Fuego tag, which is going to be used throughout the region. How do we communicate with our customers? How do we all communicate with all of our customers? So I think that that's something that we can take back and take a look at.
Okay, so that'd be additional process and maybe flipping another switch. Okay, fantastic.
I was here late. Any concerns in reference to Harris County having any veto power or any consent or authority? Do we have to go through them as having some type of approval?
So Harris County has an ILA already with Cameron County. We have talked to Harris County. They are very supportive. They've actually built this system with Cameron County in order to onboard additional regional partners. So the system is built to accommodate that. And we've had a number of conversations, and I've participated in a number of the Central U.S. Interoperability Hub Committee meetings on behalf of HCRMA, just listening in and to see how things are going. And they are on board.
You only have one disadvantage here, and obviously that's something we would have to accept. You being the expert, do you see or foresee anything in the future, even a bump?
Of course, there's always risks with these types of partnerships.
No, I understand that
Yeah.
there's risk, but specifically, is there anything that you would clarify at this time to us?
I'll tell you some things that we want to keep an eye on. We want to keep an eye on the performance metrics of the customer service center. We want to see how Cameron County is responding to increased call volumes or increased mailing. We have specific reporting and key performance metrics that Cameron County will be providing to us so that we can see how our customers are being treated by that. So typically when you open a toll facility, there are those types of bumps, and you need to react quickly to volume changes in how people are reacting.
Would this agreement do just that? Would it allow us the opportunity to have some type of communications and or modifications of the agreement in case that happens?
The agreement already does say that we can request them to increase staffing and to respond to those types of demands. Yes.
The ability that we have to request is one thing. Will they agree to it?
Yes. Well, yes, that is a question.
I mean, it's one thing to ask and it's very different to receive, right?
Of course, of
So
course.
what are you telling us?
I think that the way that we've structured the agreement in that we're doing cost sharing
Mhm.
on customer service representatives means that we have some skin in the game too. If we're willing to put up some money for them to hire some more customer service representatives, that creates that partnership that I think that we're looking for.
So going back to the director's question, how much flexibility do we have to say we don't need 4 or 5 representatives, we only need 2, and bring that 365,000 down to maybe 100,000 or 130,000?
That's going to take negotiation is the bottom line. And I know on my staff, I have folks who have literally run customer service centers before. We know how to look at this data and say and forecast what is going to be needed, whether customers are being treated properly, whether call wait times are going up too high. We can take these metrics and get to the table with Cameron County and say, this is what we need to fix. This is what we need to lower costs here. We need to increase staffing there, and have those conversations. I don't know that any agreement is perfect, but we're looking for a partnership with Cameron County, and I think that's the way the agreement is structured.
Well, I would think that, to follow up on that question, you're using some kind of prorated method, some kind of matrix that tells you the number of transactions that we're gonna have, the number of calls that we're gonna have versus what they have. I mean, is it that simple?
In some ways. So we can't think about these customers as being Cameron County customers or Hidalgo County customers. They are Fuego customers. They're using the Fuego tag. They have a Fuego account. And so the best way for us to allocate costs is to look at the number of transactions processed, because the number of transactions is always directly proportional to the number of phone calls made, to the number of pieces of mail received, and the number of the emails that are sent. You look across any agency across the country, that's the way it works. So by tying it to number of transactions processed for our facility versus their facility, it is a great metric to use for sharing costs. And it's easy to calculate. It's very transparent.
And all the users are going to be put into a mix, right? At the service
Right.
center?
Right.
Okay.
Somebody can use both facilities. So
Well, this was, as I said earlier, an item that had been tabled. We will have it as an action item. So this is during workshop, important that we get all the questions asked. Obviously, the pressure point here, if I'm understanding, is the fact that we've got bonds out there that we need to pay, and we're going to pay because we're going to toll, and we're going to toll. We need to be able to, track those tolls, and so we need to get partnered and we need to get testing, and because there's still a ways to go before all of this really is going to come to fruition. So that's where, that's why it's here and why we gotta act. So, any other thoughts, questions? Anything else, Andrew?
thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, Pilar, next item, please.
Chairman, the next item on your agenda, workshop item number 3, is review of the proposed memorandum of understanding between the Hidalgo County RMA, City of Mission, and Hidalgo County for advanced project development of Section A West and Section C. If you recall, a couple meetings ago, I reported that the City of Mission and Precinct 3 came back to the table and said, we want to enter into a partnership with the RMA to get those segments on the west side of the county developed. But the board also indicated that they would like to see that agreement before we send a final draft, I guess, for lack of a better word, to those two agencies. And so Blakely has drafted up the memorandum, which is in your packet, and she's going to walk you through the agreement. And this is essentially the same agreement you've seen before when there was going to be participation from the City of Mission and from Hidalgo County Precinct 3. And so she's amended the agreement based on the feedback we got from the City of Mission and from Precinct 3.
Now, did the city of Benitez was completely back out? Because I know they were part of it at the onset.
I'm sorry, Director, what was that?
The city of Benitez, did they drop out?
Yes, at this point, they've dropped out. Yes, sir.
Blakely, good evening. Thanks.
Hi. So we've had several iterations of this agreement with, I think McAllen was in one iteration as well. So this one just focuses on the county and the City of Mission. You'll see it's structured similar to the last version that we went through in the larger workshop. But the idea is that you will work together to do advanced planning on Section A. Mission has some right-of-way that they'd like to contribute to Section A. And so we've recognized that in here as a contribution. And then we put some language in that the local governments, that would be the county and the city, would consider funding mechanisms to support advanced planning, construction, and maintenance of the Section A using tax increment reinvestment zones, assessment districts, or other tools like that. So it's not committing them to doing anything specific, but kind of opening the door that we'll talk about those opportunities. And then similarly for segment 4, we don't have the right-of-way donation, but we do have language in there that if tax increment financing or an assessment district makes sense, that the parties will look at that together. So we don't have feedback from the other two parties on that language just yet, but that would be our hope. That is one way that we can work together to get money moving forward so that we've got the ability to work more expeditiously.
May I, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
When was the last time we talked to either the county or the City of Mission? No conversations with them since then?
Yes, Director. I've had conversations with the city manager from Mission, not with the precinct. And one of the things that I floated past him was the tax increment reinvestment zones. And, he was receptive to considering it. However, it does have to go to Mission City Council for final, for authorization. But he said it was something that they would look at. And so that was my last conversation with him, with the City of Mission.
It's not in this agreement, but we understand that the city would like some type of time period on their right-of-way donation. So they donate, and if we haven't taken action within some certain term, then it would revert back. And so that may get added to this agreement. We haven't finalized those conversations.
Yes, please.
So what's the difference between this MOU and what we agreed on in that joint meeting we had?
And the joint meeting that we had, Section A, the advanced planning work was primarily being moved over to the county. So they were going to do, we would remain the project sponsor, we would retain primacy, but they were going to do the design. They were going to do everything up to building the free frontage roads. They'd manage environmental, all of that, under the same guidelines that we do, using TxDOT's guidelines. And then we talked about, I don't know that we came to consensus on, but making sure that the project was designed to be an overweight corridor and that it was designed to receive federal funding.
And so what are they proposing now?
Just the donation of right-of-way from the city.
Do we need an MOU for that, Pilar? I mean, do we need this agreement to go forward ourselves? Look, a year and a half, this was proposed to us, right?
Yeah.
My first statement was, we'll bring the county and the cities here and let's see what they have to say and how much they have to offer. It seems like, from what I just heard, the only thing they're offering now, because I don't see the county here, I don't see Peñitas here, is the right of way, right?
Yeah, it's just the city of Mission. That could happen with a right-of-way donation agreement. I think this was maybe more to wrap up the extended conversations that have been having. So there was
Do we know the value
closure.
of that right of way?
I'm sorry,
Do we know the value?
the value of the right-of-way? I don't know. I don't know the extent of the right-of-way yet. They
Do we know
haven't.
if they can do it?
Yes, they can. They can. City of Mission owns the land. They've got a large section of land out there that they own, that I believe the EDC, Mission EDC owns, and so they're willing to donate a portion of it for road right away. To answer your question, like Blakely said, we don't need the MOU for the right away donation, but in the meetings with the City of Mission and the precinct, I think in the spirit of cooperation, they would like to have a formal agreement between all the parties. And that was really the approach from the mayor and from the county commissioners. They'd like to partner with the authority to advance that project, even though at this point they the right of way is all they have to donate.
On Exhibit B, Section A, it says ROW acquisition, $74 million. Do you have any idea how much of that is the mission allocation?
No, I'd have
I
to
don't
break.
think-
I'd
we
have to
don't know
break.
yet.
20%, 10%, 5%?
It's probably a small
5%.
portion. Yeah, 5, maybe even less than
Of the
5%.
73 million. So
Yes, sir.
$3.5 million maybe.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm just taking the Exhibit B numbers here.
You know, I think Pilar kind of made the statement, it's the spirit of cooperation kind of thing. Because, I mean, I guess the question here is, we're not giving up or losing anything to sign a memorandum of understanding. It's just that, it's a memorandum of understanding. And back to my original comment, and we all know, those of us that do, that it's been a challenge to get to where we are today. But I think today things are kind of pointed in the trajectory is a good direction. Obviously, we have this on our strategic plan as what we're
Mhm.
trying to do next. And certainly any other questions, anything else anybody else wants to ask directors, please do. I look at it as this is kind of somewhat where we started, where we were willing to come sign of course, it was a little bit different back then. There was substantial dollars involved, that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. That's all changed. But the idea that we're focused, this is what's next, and that we want to do it, and that, yeah, we'll sign this. You've got the guardrails on, it's protecting us. We're going to do this the way it needs to be done. And I don't think we're giving anything up or losing
No, and
anything.
the prior iterations had a timeline, that we'd get started by a certain date and we're moving towards letting by a certain date. Because we don't have funding, those have been removed. So
That- that's-
we kind of have our original dates in here and suggest that you will try to move faster than that.
Well,
But one way to do that would be an assessment district or an increment district.
that's,
And so this would be the first time we've opened those conversations with these partners.
that's a whole nother discussion, but and staff knows that it's something that I've brought up, I wondered about, and I like the fact that we see something here where we're coming together and it's got that in there and we can go forth and explore that. Because frankly, I think we're going to have to, in today's environment, as far as funding is concerned, we're going to have to, search for all avenues to try to get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So Section A, I can barely read this map, but it looks like it begins, if I look at the southeast terminus of the project is where our current construction project ends. Is that right? In the Anzalduas Bridge area?
No, sir. Section A starts about a quarter mile west of Conway.
tail end of the yellow is second half.
The green portion, Mr. City Manager.
This piece here is segment F. And then we come into section A.
But isn't this section A right here?
But you see this little stretch from the one to that is segment F.
Yeah, but our project ends, right, our construction project ends right here. This is environmentally clear, and AA is this piece. So we've got-
It's in the vicinity of Ansalduas Bridge.
Yes,
Okay, and so why isn't McAllen part of this agreement? I mean, it's right off the bridge.
it's all in City of Mission's corporate limits.
So McAllen's not been part of this discussion?
They-
No,
There,
no.
there was an early iteration of this agreement that McAllen was in, but
Yeah, initially, the way it came out, the letter had come out and yeah, McAllen was somewhere along the line that,
I mean, they're the majority owner of Ansalduas. You'd think that segment is important.
Yeah, yes, sir. But it's Mission's jurisdiction, so we've been working with Mission, so.
Yeah, no, I'm pointing to them, not to the RMA.
Now, you also mentioned there hasn't been a lot of talk for the last month and a half. Are they still insisting on the parts of section 4, section 3, that they remain the project sponsors
no, we're the project sponsor
on all of it?
on everything.
Okay.
We
so
were
then-
always going to be the project sponsor on everything as part of our obligation, having primacy over the project.
But the county was insisting on having control of certain aspects. Have
They wanted to be the project manager.
Is that still part of this agreement or
No.
no?
No,
So should we just offer them this and also offer them a right-of-way agreement and see which one would be better for us? Because if that's all we're getting, just like
I mean,
Director Renna
this
said.
is an MOU. It's a non-binding MOU. It's
Yeah,
the
but we
same,
just
it's
wanna
the
be
same
spec-
structure that we've been working off of.
But we just want to be specific on this because this is very vague.
But yes,
And the
it
only thing I
is.
see is encroachment upon our responsibilities in exchange for some right of way. And I think Mr. City Manager is correct. All the activities and participation on behalf of the county, they're out completely, right? Other than the right of way, but.
That's right.
If any, by the city. of
That's right.
Mission.
They're not offering to do any
That's-
design or environmental, all of
Nothing.
those roles
That's
have been
completely out.
removed. Right. There was the MPO action. This also helps kind of wrap up that, right? That the county is not asserting some type of rights over Section A. I mean, this is designed just, I think, to kind of bookend the discussions that have been happening so that we can say, the parties agree this is the way we're moving forward. The RMA will be the project sponsor, project manager. We will manage the project. Mission wants to participate in right of way, and the parties are going to look at funding options together, and they'll look at special districts.
Coming late in this agreements. So I'm trying to make clear in the spirit of cooperation why we haven't had the mayor or the county judge come in and explain or have them acknowledge what it is that we're going through. We've been through it.
We had a
It's quite
very long
extensive.
workshop with the county judge, and the mayors were there.
Yeah.
And the precinct commissioner was there. But since then, I think there was the MPO action that was kind of contrary to the results of that meeting. And then this is now, I think, the step that has evolved from that.
So with this donation of right of ways on it, are we back again to the plans that the RMA was going to continue with? I mean, that doesn't seem to change much of anything as to projection of when this project begins or ends.
It doesn't. We don't have a pathway to expedite based on right of way, right? We've got to have the funds to do the design, to finish clearance, where we've got to do
So
that.
in other words, I'm trying to understand the urgency that had come on their part to be able to move this thing forward, where we're back in the same place again, where we're still going through the same plans. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We're
Yeah.
back to.
So
our
we're back to
strategic-
zero.
We're back to our strategic plan.
Yeah.
yeah, and like Blakely said, it kind of bookends that long, lengthy discussion and kind of got us to, okay, here's where we're at. And again, it's hopefully from a, you know, from a, what are the optics or narrative is that, you know, we started that we wanted to work together. We're ending that we want to work together. And this is what we have, and
Yeah.
still got to get the funding. There's still a ways to go. But, you know, I didn't see any real issue or any harm
No,
in
I mean,
this.
we also have to get their feedback on it, right? I mean, maybe they come back with something wildly different than we're expecting.
Yeah.
That's been,
Yeah,
that's where
go
we've
ahead.
been.
So Blakely, so is there no implied timeline with this new MOU? I mean, getting back to Director Peña's points, we went through that whole exercise because the parties didn't feel like the RMA was going to move these projects fast enough,
Right.
right? And so that we're gonna get into that MOU so that that would change and we would have very specific timelines. Are timelines out now?
So if you look, section 2A, deals with section A. We've got our letting date from our strategic plan for section A is 2033. And then the same with section 4A, dealing with segment 4. Our strategic plan provides for letting of that project in 2029. So as of now, that's still what we're looking at. But
And the parties understand that, Mission and the county.
yeah, if money becomes available and we can move more quickly, then I think what this does, from my perspective, is it says this is where we're going to prioritize putting money if we get it, that it'll go to the west side of the county.
So, yeah.
So do we expect some kind of response from them?
We've sent a preliminary draft, Pilar, but I don't know the timing on
Who
that.
wrote it? I think let's start with that.
Who wrote this? I did. This is the same, I mean, it's the same document we've been working off of, just stripped down.
And have they agreed to that or we don't know yet?
We don't know yet. They've agreed, the terms came from them. Like I say, we added, let's look at special districts as a way to expedite this. That's one thing we could do together that doesn't take anything out of their coffers, right? This would be something different. We don't know where they stand on that. And I don't know how long they've had a copy of the draft.
They've had maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. They've had a copy of the draft.
And they haven't responded?
No, sir, we sent it over and with the caveat that we weren't going to formally negotiate the terms until the board of directors had a look at the MOU and gave the staff direction.
Do you think they're in a position to meet, let's say, for example, 7A, where you have a donation agreement to be finalized by December 31st, 2025?
They've indicated that as
They've
long,
indicated
yeah,
yes? Okay, good.
yes.
If they can't, then we'd probably accommodate that date, right? I mean, but
Yeah,
Excellent.
Well, I think in exchange for what has transpired since then, that they were supposed to assist us in making and moving this along quicker. But all that is out. Don't you think this is a little premature at this time now? I mean, isn't this way down the road? The
What do
right
you
of ways?
mean?
I mean, they were supposed to help us bring funds and start the activity and the project now. That's out, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no involvement in their part for that particular
Right,
activity,
right. The
right?
county initially wanted to be project manager
And
for
the county's
section
not even
A.
here anymore, right?
And,
This is just city mission.
right,
So we want to
I think
take
the
on.
county's.
Now, the
this
county
is the
signed
county.
this.
Yeah.
They're-
that's
but what
right,
are-
right, but they
what are
they don't have
doing,
any
though?
real
Well, it says in,
obligations.
like number 3, it says the local governments will consider funding mechanisms to support the advanced planning, construction, and maintenance. They are putting themselves in here.
Yeah,
I
to
mean,
do what?
Right, there, I mean, I hear you.
As
It's not,
hypothetical. It's
Yeah, what are we
hypothetical.
gonna get, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just don't
well-
think we see the point.
Yeah.
If there's gonna be no obligations, like why are we burning paper just to burn paper? If
I
this
think
agreement doesn't
it's
have
to-
any net effect.
to secure the right of way, right? That's
Right,
not,
but that can
that's
be done in a
something.
right-of-way
And that can be
agreement.
done in a right-of-way agreement. Otherwise, it's just to wrap up these conversations. So we
You know
had a
what I
big
do like
workshop,
about
we've
it
had drafts.
Is that the county is agreeing to our timeline. And before they weren't.
But they don't
That's
have a
that's the only
standing,
positive.
without an agreement, they don't have standing to complain or be happy with it.
Well, I know, but they'd be signing this, which means that they are willing to accept our timelines.
Yeah, but I mean, someone from First Street in McAllen can agree to our timeline too. It means nothing, is my point.
Well, you've got the
Wow.
county judge's signature.
I understand that, but why are we having a signature? I just see potential problems in negotiating the right of way if we have this agreement too, which implies some kind of say, when we could do the exact same thing without any implied issues later on with just a right of way agreement.
Yes, we can accept right away with a right away agreement. I'm not sure what implied say you think is in this agreement, but
They have, well, they're signing on a document. I know everyone says MOUs are not binding. Anyone that's litigated MOUs knows that's not exactly true.
with this MOU states that it's
I-
not
I know, and
binding. It's,
I've beaten those in the past.
it's, they're not, they don't have any say on the project in the language that's in this agreement.
That's my whole point. If they don't have anything or any say so in the project, because remember when we went over there
Oh,
and
yeah.
had this workshop on their part, official meeting on our part, they were going to be our partners. We're
Right.
going to be all in. They're all out now, except
Right.
the city mission on the right of way. And this language is
Well-
basically follows the same activity. I know they're saying we're agreeing to the 2033, but that means absolutely nothing. I mean, what are they doing for us in exchange for us telling them, oh, we're going to finish in 2033?
That's already in our strategic plan.
That's
So, I
correct.
mean,
That's exactly
Right,
correct. What are
right.
they doing?
Well,
I think what they're doing is standing down.
yeah,
And they're,
that's
and
exactly
we're-
right.
I mean,
And
it's
I'd like,
Right? I mean,
It's
so we're
exactly correct.
stopping the fight
So
at the
why don't we just
MPO.
leave
We're
this alone for
stopping.
a while and see
Well,
what happens?
That's
here's my
an
thinking,
option.
here's my thinking is, and you said it, okay, they're standing down. We're gonna move forward the way that's what the RMA is for. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
That's why we have an RMA. That is the purpose of why we were created. We got a little off the rails there for a little while, but I think we kind of brought ourselves back. And now I think they're agreeing to it, and I don't see any harm. They asked for this. It's important to them. Maybe they know something we don't, but I've checked with staff and legal counsel. It's not harming. And the additional benefit that I like, aside from having a signature on something, like you just said, is this idea that, and I think we're not there just yet, but funding mechanisms are going to be extremely important. And we're already pointing out here that we need them to sit at the table with us to say, hey, how about, like they did in Cameron County or in other counties, taking a look at the TERS or whatever the option may be. But
Mhm.
that's what I'm liking about it. I don't see any harm in it. And frankly, I think to go back and say, you know what, we don't want to sign this MOU after all of this seems a little bit not the best path. That's my thought.
I think you're absolutely correct. I was one that was all for it when they were going to be our partners. But my question to you was the beginning was loaded because have they even asked for this MOU as of late?
They did.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
And they've asked,
they did?
they've
They
asked,
did.
they've
They
asked
asked-
me as well.
Yeah.
Who's they? The mission or the county or both?
Mission has
Mission.
been
Mission.
kind of on the lead.
And, yeah. So,
So it's not done yet. I think we're just looking for direction to start negotiating, but this would be our starting place.
I just don't see what there is to negotiate. So
I
once the
I
engagement
understand.
is off, why are we negotiating the prenup? We're not getting married. Like,
I understand.
look, I'll say this again. In order to get this type of project done, it's going to take all of us.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, it's going to take the county, it's going to take each individual city, the mayors, the commissions in each community. It's going to take a unified effort for us to get this done. We've got to be talking to TxDOT, we've got to be talking to the feds, we got to be talking to the legislatures. These are huge, big, giant dollar things that we're trying to do here, and it's going to be better to try to accomplish those things together. The things that we do together even though there's issues along the way and bumps, are going to be far greater than the things we try to do individually. And yes, we're an RMA and we exerted what we believed were our rights and what we thought we all believed in. And I'm super happy that we're past all of that. But this idea that, we're going to sign off on an MOU and I'd put more people on it if they were willing to, because it's going to take all of us working together. That's my thought.
Well, Chairman,
Yeah.
that's exactly, I was just thinking about this right now. Made a good point. Should the city of McAllen be involved in this?
Well,
Should we reach out to the city of McAllen and say?
I
"Look, we're
find it
looking into
interesting.
this."
I think that we have somebody up here that might know a little bit about something like that. And
We're all
I
looking to our
found it
right here,
interesting.
Mr.
Found it interesting that he brought that up. But yes, I'd be happy for them to be on there. And maybe I don't know if that's a request, but we want to do this, but hey, what happened with McAllen? They were on here at one time and run it by them as well and get them to sign off. It's all of us working together here. To me, it's going to take all of us pulling and pushing in the same direction.
We can certainly reach out to the city of McAllen and see if they're interested in being a party to this agreement. So,
Yeah, and part of the agreement, if we do insist on an MOU, then the agreement maybe put something in there that they will continuously seek sources of funding, which isn't really explicit. It's mentioned, but it's not explicit in the agreement. Otherwise, like Director Reyna said, they've got no skin in the game.
Yeah.
Other than the ink on the signature line, they've got nothing invested. So
Yeah.
if there's a duty, like we're going to continue looking for sources of funding, we're going to try to get grants, we're going to try to do all these things. Okay, great.
Well, and maybe I'm looking at this from too high or big picture perspective, but the skin in the game is what we all have in it, is this is economic development. And this is happening right there in their communities. And if we don't all recognize that and see that and understand that the sooner we get together and the sooner we get these things done, the better off we're going to be. I mean, that to me is the skin in the game. And so I can't imagine that any of them are, well, yeah, I should be able to imagine. We lived through it, that we're not going to work together, but it's a new day. I'm optimistic. The glass is half full. I think we've got a terrific, I mean, this is a good opportunity for me to say this. We've got a terrific board here that doesn't speak anything ill or different or about anything in the past. But we've got a good group of people here that are focused, that are trying to do the work of the RMA, and we need our communities to come together and get it done. And so, anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
So for clarification, we'll reach out to McAllen and then Panitas as well. They were the other party originally.
And the county.
In the county, right? The county's already on
Yeah,
here,
but
county
we want them
admission.
to look, we're in the same spirit. We just want them to do something. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, yeah.
We want them to be, we don't want them to be silent partners. We don't want them to be limited partners. If they're going to be a partners, let them be on the forefront with us. Absolutely. That's all we're saying. And this doesn't say that, but that's okay. We'll move forward with.
Well, I think Director Roy brings up a really good point. I mean, obviously, the largest city in the county has a representative right here in Director Williamson, and there's a reason for that. And so having them be part of this and saying, "Hey, we're willing to work together," I mean, I think that's great.
I mean, I think it's a good idea, but even without McAllen, I'm going to recommend that we sign it. Did we execute
Chairman,
it?
I've sort of backed the city of McAllen away from this because realistically, it hasn't really been going in any particular direction. And so it's where do they fit in? And so
Well-
now we sort of have a clear indication
Yeah.
by this. And I was reading this, I look up and I said, definitive plan to work together. That's what I wrote about this MOU. And this is great direction.
It really is. It is a new day, and I can totally get and understand why. I get it why McAllen backed off. I mean, there was a whole nother thing going on here when this started.
Yeah.
And we were, frankly, in my opinion, off the rails. But we're back on the rails, and here we are. And so this is good. So yeah, an invitation would be
Okay.
great.
All right.
Is that a motion?
We're just in workshop now, but we'll proceed ahead with the partners and hopefully come back with an agreement that's ready for signatures shortly.
All right. Thank you, Blakely. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I had 6 people telling me that this is a workshop, Chairman. Settle down. Okay, I get it. I get animated, excited. That's good. Thank y'all.
Chairman,
All right,
Directors, the next item is item number 4 in your workshop, and it's the review of the proposed fiscal year 2020 operating and capital budget for the authority. So typically, every October, we present the proposed budget to the Board of Directors. We don't adopt it until December. Our fiscal year is from January 1st to December 31st. And so we presented a couple of months ahead of time to give the board some time to review it and chew on it, but this will come back to you in December for adoption. And so I'll go over this budget real quick. There is a budget letter in your packet that I'll be referring to. So we're gonna start the year, the 2026 estimated working capital of 63 million. And we expect revenues of about 46.3 million. Of that, 7.8 million will come from vehicle registration fees, 1.9 million will come from overweight permit fees, and 35 million will come from federal grants, and then which is reimbursement on the construction for the 365 tollway. And then 1.4 million is estimated for interest earnings. So the total appropriation will be 92.2 million. 4 million of it will be dedicated to operations. 8.7 million will be for debt service, and 78.5 million will be capital construction of the 365 tollway, and 1 million will be for environmental clearance of Section A. At this level of activity, we anticipate an ending working capital of 16.6 million at the end of fiscal year 2026. And so, we took a conservative approach when we budgeted the $7.8 million in vehicle registration fees. So we're being conservative, just noting a slight increase. Historically, the vehicle registration fees have increased year over year, anywhere between 1.5% to 3%. They've kind of stayed in that range year over year. We've been collecting vehicle registration fees since 2008. So we've got a lot of history that we're able to estimate pretty good. Permit fees, we're budgeting at $1.9 million. And we've got data since 2013 on that. So we've got a little over 10 years of data that we can use. Although this last year, permit fees have kind of been all over the map. And we'll discuss some of why that is happening in executive session. But we're being conservative, and we're estimating $1.9 million will be generated from permit fees. On the operating budget, we're estimating an operating budget of $4 million. This represents an increase of $50,000 or 1.26% compared to last year. So we've got a slight increase in the overall budget compared to last year. And this is because we're going to be adding some staff. We're going to be adding an engineer to help Ramon with construction. And so that's really what that 2.6% increase is. As far as capital outlay, which is not different from capital improvement, these are capital outlay or purchases that we buy for the operation side. We're budgeting 22,000. 10,000 of it is for administration, and 12,000 is for the construction office. And this represents an increase of $7,000 over last year. So we think this is a realistic budget, and we'll entertain any questions you may have. Again, this is not an action item. This is just for review. This will be on your December agenda for adoption.
I see, Pilar, I see that your personnel services are going up to 2.9 million on the 2026 budget. Is that, what exactly? It's about $900,000 more than, I guess, what we've spent.
Which page are you looking at,
I'm
Director?
looking at general fund preliminary budget summary.
And you're looking at
It's just a
personal.
question. I mean, it's good. I mean, you're raising the number up a little bit, but I mean, it's expenditures, personnel services.
So our current budget is 2.8 million,
Yes, sir.
and we're estimating expenditures for 2 million for the year. And so that additional increase is for the engineer that I discussed construction engineer.
Have we
To,
just not found the person yet?
we're in luck. We've got somebody that accepted a job offer from us, and so hopefully they'll be starting pretty soon.
Good deal.
So,
Do you feel like you're staffed appropriately and sufficiently?
well, one of the,
In view of what's gonna happen the next year?
so from construction, during construction, we're probably a little bit understaffed for construction, and that's been a challenge that we've had, trying to get engineers hired to manage the construction. But once construction is done, Director, we're actually gonna be ramping down the staff, mainly on the construction side. So once we go into operations, we'll probably be a little bit overstaffed, and we'll have to look at either reductions or primarily through attrition. We'll bring the staffing down to an appropriate level.
What was the answer? What was the answer?
So
You do
on,
need staff or you don't need staff?
for construction, we're understaffed right now.
At this point?
At this point, when we are done with construction and we go into the toll operations, we'll probably be a little overstaffed, and we'll have to reduce our staffing. Especially if we enter into the agreement with Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority, they'll be taking care of a lot of our customer service operations, and so we won't need that staff on our side of the house.
Any other questions on the 2026 budget? Again, we're getting it today. You'll see it again in November, and we won't take action till December, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Just one more. On the permit fees, you said you would be discussing those, or you had a plan for that? Because I know that we've had sizable amount of decreases in that.
So when we go into executive session, Director, we'll talk about some of the factors that are impacting our overweight fees, and kind of tell you where we think we're going to land.
Okay, thank you, Pilar. And no other questions on item 4. Next item.
Item 5 is the quarterly investment report for the period ending September 30th, 2025. So this period, our interest earned is $1,289,128, which is a little bit lower than we've been seeing, and it's for 2 reasons. One is the interest rates are starting to creep down, where we were seeing our rates at about 4.5%. Right now, our rates are 4.3% is what we're seeing on our yields, and our cash balances are smaller because we're expending our capital improvements on 365 Tollway, so we have smaller balances to reinvest. But that's basically what we're seeing, and that's why next fiscal year we were only projecting about $1.9 million in interest earned, because our cash balances are going to come down. If you remember in the budget, we were going to start with a cash balance of about $96 million, and when it's all said and done, we're going to be down to about $60 million. So that'll be where we see the reduction in interest earned.
Tax due?
Chairman?
Any?
Yes, sir. So every year, because the cash that we have was through the issuance of bonds, we have to do what's called a rebate arbitrage calculation. And because last year we actually had interest earnings that were greater than the interest we were paying on the bonds, we're going to owe the IRS about $30,000 this year, because we had really good investment returns last year.
Yeah. So a bit of tax due.
Did you tell them what we do for a living here around here?
No, sir.
Gee, wow.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on the investment report? Hearing none. Okay, Pilar, you can move on. Next item.
Chairman, Directors, workshop item number 6 is a review of the process flow for advanced project development and construction of HCRMA projects. So the board has been asking, how do we build a project? What's the process that we go to? Unfortunately, and the board asked for a flow chart. And so, yes, sir. So this is the process. It's a 10-page flow chart. This is the process that we have to follow from cradle to grave when we develop a project, from its inception all the way to operation. This follows TxDOT's local government project procedures. So this is a really complicated process. And so what we've done in your packet, if you look, there's this one pager, we've kind of summarized that into this one right here, this flow chart right here. And so these are the primary steps that we take. So we took that complicated, the yes, no, go to, if flow chart, and this is the process that we follow. So you have the project initiation, which that's our strategic plan, right? So we've got projects programmed. There it goes to preliminary engineering and design. And in that preliminary engineering design, you have environmental clearance and schematic approval. Prior to preliminary engine design, you do what's called the sketch level traffic and revenue studies, which we've done for our projects. And then after you've gotten environmental clearance, you go to basically designing it, PS&E, plans, specifications, and estimate development. After the plans are done, you secure funding for the project, whether it's a grant, whether it's revenue bonds, and then you go to bid letting and you award the project. The project goes to construction, and then you finish the project and you close it out and you go into operations. In that process, if you look, you still have what's called environmental compliance, that as we go through construction, during construction and post-construction, there's some environmental compliance that we have to do that as a result of the environmental clearance. And then, of course, also in there, you have the right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation. And so we simplified it for the board. These are the steps, but the detailed process is in the flow chart that we provided you.
And I appreciate it. And I understand that well, somehow now I understand some of the complexities. My question on flow charts was in specific projects, and I think Ramon explained some of those when he said we're 96% complete on something or other, right? What I was referring to was that I'd like to see a project that if, for instance, if we start in 2029 a project, then we start that, then we go through phases, and you're presenting to us a flow chart as to where it is every 6 months on a yearly basis. That's what I was referring to as a flow chart on the projects, not how you proceed, how you do
Okay.
the engineering aspects of it, because I'm not
Okay.
an engineer.
So what we can do is we've got one project that we've closed out already, which is the Border Safety Inspection Facility connector and the US 281 military highway overpass. That's a project we completed and it's in closeout. We're under construction right now, 365 Tollway. And so the next project that we can do that is on Section A. That's the next project we're going to take, and we can show you where we are in this process, as part of the
Yeah,
monthly.
That's what I was referring when I was asking for flow charts. In
Yeah.
particular, because I'm seeing, that where we're have some overruns on a lot of projects. I understand why we're running into a lot of that. I'm sure expenses and whatnot, but we've hit some of them when I don't understand why we're having to take so long to get there. And I think it would help those of us who are new on the board to understand where in particular we are in a project if we're asked, you're here or you're there, whatever.
Yes, sir.
But you understand what I'm asking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We
thank
do.
you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Director, I think this was maybe more for your chairman over here, so I would understand how complex this is. And knowing that Mr. Alvarez was going to be in the room, it didn't help to point out just how difficult his job is, but thanks for all that he does. But yeah, quite the process, and I appreciate you putting this together. And then, yeah, for your
You're actually thanking
questions.
Mr. Alvarez for this?
Well, I'm
Is that what
thanking
you're
him for the
saying?
work that he does because he apparently is carrying this out. I took a crack at looking at this for a while and it gave me a couple of headaches, not just one, but anyway. all good.
So to put it in perspective, we gotta, the
Do
RMA has
that.
to do all those steps.
So that,
The district engineer makes sure we follow all those steps.
yeah,
So,
this is
yeah.
the guardrails,
Yes,
making
sir.
sure that we
Yes.
keep it on track.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Ramon's right. We fall in the mega project category. So not only do we have TxDOT oversight, but we have Federal Highway Administration oversight. So
No,
that
this was very good. I appreciated it. And even though, I mentioned at the top of the meeting that this meeting would mark a year. I guess the first actual meeting I attended was November, but I was appointed and came on board in October. So this is a year later. And I tell you, one of the greatest things that it takes a bit to get up to speed. There's quite a lot of moving parts. And so these types of diagrams and explanations are very helpful and good. Any other questions or thoughts there? Hearing none, Pilar?
Yes, sir.
Next
Chairman
item.
Directors, next item is the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Okay, Pilar, and I was going to ask.
Sorry, yeah, I got ahead of
uh,
myself.
You skipped me.
Yeah. Sorry, we were knee deep in workshop.
He was, well, first let me ask, I know, no malintent there. First, any public comment? That's
No, sir.
next on the agenda.
No public comments, sir.
All right. Chairman's report, I pretty well think we covered it in what we've been discussing. I really don't need to add anything else. I made my comments then, so that takes care of Chairman's report. And then we'll go to item 2, staff reports.
Yes.
There's not an intent to go to the consent before, right?
No, sir. No,
Okay.
I.
All right, we're backing up. We got to
Yeah.
get a couple staff reports, so let's.
Yes, sir. We've got Ruben Alfaro who'll give a report on program management activity, and then Ramon Navarro will give a report on construction activity.
Hey,
Good
Ruben.
afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Ruben Alfaro for the record. So I'm going to give a permit summary for the overweights and development updates. So for the month of September, we issued a total of 4,715 permits, a percent reduction from last year of 4.65%. We collected a total of $962,056, from which $19,056 were convenience fees. From the total permit fees left, the RMA received $127,305, which is again a negative 4.65% reduction. So looking at the latest 3 years monthly comparison, we're slightly below 2024 numbers. Like I said, the 4.65%. And the numbers are dipping as we see every year on these months. For the year, from January 1st to September 30th of this year, we have issued a total of 51,677 permits, a negative 10.26% from 2024, which stays consistent with last month. We collected a total amount of $10,546,384, from which $210,984 were convenience fees. And from the permit fees left, the RMA has received $1,395,279, which is consistent with the negative 10.26%. So this is the latest 3-year yearly cumulative. As we see, we trail 2024. We're staying consistent from 10 to 12% below last year for the last 4 or 5 months. And then lastly, the accumulated from January 1st of 2014 to September 30th of 2025, we have issued a total of 440,500 permits, for a total amount collected of $78,780,944, from which the RMA has received $10,286,460.
A quick question.
Mhm.
On the local off system, 153,
Mhm.
where does that money go? Who's local?
So that was a pilot project that TxDOT had approved with the city of FAR for a facility that was transporting gravel or importing gravel. But that expired on September 30th of this year. So that is going to the city of FAR, but that was a pilot project that TxDOT authorized and has terminated. So there'll be no further revenue going to them. So basically, we added an off-system route that's not on the state highway system. And TxDOT, it was a pilot project, TxDOT was allowing the city of FAR to try out.
What was it for?
Basically, they were trying to facilitate the import of gravel from Mexico to a site here, basically for construction materials.
Into the city of FAR?
Yes, it happened to be a city of FAR. It is in the vicinity of the FAR Bridge. It's right adjacent to the FAR Bridge. And it was basically spur 29. Is it spur 20? Yeah, it was spur 29, which is on the statewide system. And then it's Doffing Road that connects to spur 29. So it was a
And you
Hey,
call
Tim.
it a pilot program. Why was it a pilot program? What was the purpose of the pilot?
So TxDOT was looking to see of expanding the permit system. Right now, it's only authorized on the state highway system, farm to market roads, state highways, spurs, et cetera. They were looking to expand it onto local streets, to issue overweight permits onto local streets. But it was a pilot project that they authorized for 1 year, and that has expired.
And what was the end result as far as the findings?
Very few permits were issued. We only issued like 6 permits during that entire pilot project. So it was very low use.
What was this 53,000 for? What did it go towards?
Which,
The 153,000.
Oh, the off-system.
that was the, so the way TxDOT structured it, when we issue a permit, TxDOT gets 85% of the 85% of the permit, we get 15%. So TxDOT did it on a pro rata share of the entire permit system. And so that's $153,497 that TxDOT gave up of their 85% to the city of FAR. And that's the way TxDOT structured it.
Who actually paid for the permits? Who bought the permits?
The 6 permits, it was the vendor that was gonna be importing gravel. Yeah, but
There was only
and
6 permits?
there was only 6 permits issued, yeah. And the way that TxDOT structured it, they still got a cut of the overall permits that were issued out of TxDOT's 85%. So that's why it ended up being such a large number. And that's the way TxDOT chose to,
So you're saying that they actually gave up a part of their 85%?
yes, sir. Yes, sir,
So
we
this
did, and we,
153 is not for the actual pilot program usage, is for the overall of the 85% from TxDOT's
yes,
portion?
yes, sir. We didn't recommend the structure they used, but they chose to go forward with it, and so.
I don't remember everything, but did we vote on this? Did this board vote on this?
Yes, we did a resolution, I'm sorry.
Okay, Ruben, another question I had, when we're looking at, can you back up to the trends? Yeah. Um, You know, we're aware that, I think there was a comment made that a big portion of that was due to the transport of fuel, right?
That's correct,
And
yes.
cutting out that.
Yes.
And so, given I'm just curious, and I don't know that you would know off the top of your head, or I imagine we can go find this out, but it would seem like to me that the permit program is continued to grow such that the gap, once you remove all of the fuel stuff that was going on, those permits, um, would have been more if we hadn't continued growing. Does that make sense? Does it sound like that's the way it's happening?
I believe we do expect an increase also due to the Far Bridge finalizing their expansion and having double the traffic, or hopefully double the traffic. And then Ansalduas will also up their traffic with the commercial area.
Mhm.
To try to answer your question, Chairman, if you look at the graph that we have up, the orange is before we started issuing permits for fuel. We weren't issuing, in 2023, we weren't issuing hardly any permits for fuel. The blue, the blue is when we started issuing fuel permits. So and it was from one year to the next, we had that big jump, about a 40, I think it was 42% increase in our permits because of fuel. And then, of course, you're seeing the green where now they've backed out, or we're no longer issuing.
So it makes my point
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that the permit system in of itself without the fuel is continuing to grow.
That is correct.
And that's a good sign. And that's good. And we're hopeful that as we go forward, like you said, that, the improvements that are being made will continue the project or the program's growth. Okay. All right, back to you.
And just the last development update is we completed the review of the SOQs provided for environmental services and preliminary engineering. We will have a recommendation for the board on this meeting and for the board section. And that's all I have. Oh, yes, we did perform some outreach this month, a lot of outreach this month. We were at the start of the produce event with the city of FAR. We attended a golf tournament as well with the FAR International Bridge and the truck expo as well. Yes, trucking Thursdays as well with the city of FAR. And we had a scheduled McAllen EDC presentation as well, but it got delayed till November, so we'll be there. And we'll be having also a presentation at the McAllen Realtors Association on November as well.
Okay. Well, I smiled when I heard you say that because you know how important I feel that outreach is. And I think I've maybe mentioned this before, and if I haven't, I'd say now that it needs to be part of your stand-in presentation when you come up to present is outreach.
Yeah.
That's how important I think it is. And you're out there doing it anyway. So let's make sure we report that you're out there doing it.
Okay.
And I also want to take an opportunity, because I know it's been pointed out, to thank and highlight Director Michael Williamson. I know that he's out there beating the streets. Not that everyone isn't, but in particular, you brought to our attention many things that are happening out there, and go talk here and go talk there. So,
Tell the story.
yeah, tell the story. So the more of that we can do, the better off we are. So I think that's very important. So thanks for that. Thanks for your work on
And
that.
if the board identifies any opportunities, we're open to go on present.
Very good.
Thank you.
Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yep. Yeah. Question, Ruben?
How's our marketing coming along, our marketing plan? and
So right
forth?
now, we're currently finalizing the website design. We're creating some flyers. We created some imagery for outreach. So we're moving on that.
Any other questions, Ruben? All done? Okay, thank you, Ruben. Then I'll go ahead and call up Ramon to give staff report item B on construction activity. Ramon Navarro.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Ramon Navarro IV, and I'm the Chief Construction Engineer for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority, here to provide you a brief synopsis of our concurrent construction projects and what we have in the works right now. All right. So bringing to context what Mr. Cadamus brought to you, this is the CISA contract, or SICE or SICE, or whatever, how you want to refer to them. But we've paid out so far for the toll collection system. We've issued approximately $4,086,420.45. As far as the percentage, we're at 41.93% complete and pending approximately 5.1 million in pending items. Now, a lot of this is, another chunk of this, 5.7 million is for the maintenance. This is gone untouched and will not be touched until operations goes into play with the toll collection system. But to put items in perspective, as Mr. Cadams saw, we have installed the server here at the HCRMA headquarters. This is the brain of the operation that he was mentioning that captures all of the data and transfers to Hectra. This is where it'll all be happening in a little 9-by-9 room that we have, locked and secured for no one to go in and play with that server. As far as in the field, this is the first digital message board we have erected. This is on the west end of the project, approximately station 724, right before Sherry Road. This will be useful in conveying our messages to the public as far as down messages, as far as emergencies or down lanes, tolling rates, as far as travel times, et cetera. It will be programmed accordingly and on display throughout the duration of the project. In addition to that, we do have the first completion of semi-complete completion of the tolling station. First tolling station, you can see the gantries, the servers, the generator, et cetera. All of the readers are up, and these are the electronic digital sensors, cameras, radars, treadle pads that are going and sending messages back and forth, the card readers, et cetera. We look forward to completing 7 more of these, and that completes the toll collection system. Moving on to the heavy highway project, the 365 toll, we issued notice to
Excuse me,
proceed to
Ramon.
Paulus Construction.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that there's no questions.
Oh, on the
or
tolling? Yes,
on
sir.
on that first portion.
Yes, sir.
Anything
If you
from
don't
anybody?
mind, real quick, this board right here, how many of them are there? Just one on one side, or gonna have a couple of them?
It's going to have one at every gantry, so there'll
Okay.
be 7, and I believe there's 3 additional ones on the overpasses. Sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Well, I also wanted to take the opportunity that let you know how impressed my wife is when we go underneath one of those, that I say, check out the gantry up there. I don't call it a catwalk anymore. I know what it is. All right. Thank you, Ramon. Okay, next item.
All right. Moving on to the heavy highway project, 365 toll. We issued the notice to proceed to Paulus Construction on February 15th of 2022. They started work on March 17th of 2022. They had 1,264 calendar days. September 23rd was the substantial completion date. And unfortunately, to announce, we are approximately 35 days into liquidated damages as of today. Those fees are being collected at $16,500 a day. And we move on with the change orders. We have 3 pending items as far as change orders are concerned. And those will be brought before the board when we get the total complete proposals before us. They've simply dropped some numbers into our lap and no justification. It appears that they were holding on to these, thinking they were going to be able to charge additional fees once the contract was over. But that's not how the system works. And we are enforcing the specifications which require them to honor contract prices unless they are overrun by the 25%. And that's something that is pending approval on our behalf. HDR is currently reviewing these proposals. I've attached some of those into the packet to give you a sense of the kind of materials and what we're looking at. These are very preliminary. And like I said, these are all we have received. We've had that item canceled for the last 2 meetings because they failed to provide backup and justification for those items. And hopefully we can wrap it all up next month in November. This is imperative to us going forth with our analysis of the total overall costs and operations and going into a new fiscal year and the budget, et cetera. it's imperative, like I mentioned, for us to have that captured. One of the items for the time impact analysis was the ETT AEP lines. I'm glad to announce that this was finalized, or the last location was finalized Sunday night. They are cleaning up the old poles and removing all of the appurtenances. They should be off by Friday, and this one delay will be off the books. Unfortunately, we continue in discussions and mediations with our partnering agency, Hidalgo County Irrigation District Number 2. That is also an agreement that's pending to be inked. And every time we find all the answers, they change all the questions. And we are diligently working on negotiating this out. But this is all dependent, these betterments are dependent upon the schedule and ordering material requirements, et cetera. And we need to fully get this captured. We did have the deck pour finished up 2 Tuesdays ago. This was the largest bridge pour, aside from the floodway bridge, the largest overpass pour. We conducted this in 12 hours. This is Dicker Road, and this is a finalized photo of that. And as far as the summary of the project, I intentionally included a invoice for the month to be able to explain some of the inquiries we received last month about how liquidated damages were going to be calculated. If you look at the display or the exhibit of the summary of the project, on the bottom corner, it has a 0 for liquidated damages. That's because this month we come before you for approval, and that's the 7 days of September. So those 7 days of September, equivalent to $115,000, will be exhibited and displayed on our status once it's approved by the board, which means next month we'll come before you with the 115 days and calculate the 30 days for the month of October, and our 31 days for October, and that'll summate to approximately $535,000 in liquidated damages that they're running to date now. We are in discussions, like I said, with the time impact analysis with the contractor, with HDR, with the participation of TxDOT and FHWA to try and find a happy median or to justify work and timelines. Right now, we've estimated about 208 days for the ETT delay, but we still need to look into the actual impacts to the critical path and what work was being able to be done during that duration. Of course, on paper, it says one thing, our production and records say other things, and we need to weigh that out appropriately and scale it out appropriately to be able to not just hand over time, freely hand over some of the time on this. We've issued, again, this is the 42nd estimate, or 43rd estimate, excuse me, 42nd estimate. Comes before you with $1,844,308.10. And this is the invoice that I did include in the packet to detail all in all how we amount to payment items. The inspector goes in, enters his daily work reports. This is summarized and captured in a quantity-wise basis and accumulated at the end of the month of the 28th. The program compiles all of the data and summarizes all of the bill. Then we go into the actual current approved work. You have the current stockpile advancement, which is the MOH, or material on hand, that they also submit for credit. You can see here, it was 607,000 that they presented. They constructed about approximately $1.9 million worth of work. We also have a stockpile recovery, which is the items that, again, MOH is the credit card. When we give them the credit card, they tab up to it, and when they actually pay back is when they put the materials into construction. That's when we recover the cost that we gave them on the credit card, and it goes on to the actual bill, our invoice, and it's deducted out because we've already given them that money. So it's deducted out, and when you accumulate it all out, We've got the added or deduction of the liquidated damages, which was 7 days for the $150,500 at 16.5. That is correct. And it summarizes the current payment down to the 1.8 million from the 1.9. Everything on the right column is just summaries and accumulations of the overall project. And that pretty much summarizes my report. These are some of the pending items. Just for example, the switches that are required at AEP for the high mass lighting. That's come in at 176,000. We have no backup. They just simply gave us a overall cost. We need justification for each of the items and an itemized inventory of what they're charging. This is guardrail radius, additional guardrail, et cetera, minor items. The biggest item on the back was for 143, last one, $423,000. This is not a justified item. It's a means and methods item that was impacted. Their subcontractor has billed the primary contractor, and they've given us a pass-through bill, but that's not the way it works and functions. So, like I said, this is a material on hand. This is a means and methods item that will not be entertained for payment. As mentioned, we continue to work on the overall time impact analysis, and this is what they had submitted 2 months ago, and we are still analyzing that and hoping to have a compiled change order by the end of next month to come before the board with some positive news and moving forward with the irrigation district and our primary contractor, Paulus Construction. This concludes my report. May I entertain any questions or concerns at this time?
Chairman, I have a
Yes,
question, if
go
you don't
ahead.
mind, just real quick, just on this report right here.
Yes, sir.
It says negative 29 days. Will the calculation be as simple as 29 days being over times the 16,500? And that's what'll be down here? Is that what you're going to be placing?
Yes, sir.
down here?
That summarized will be that'll be the overall for the month of September, which is you'll see the 115 days. And then those additional 29 days will be on the invoice that will be coming before
Next
you for
month.
the October, and it'll be accumulated a month. It'll be a month delay.
Delayed, okay.
Reina.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Pilar. Let's see. Now we can, I think, go to item 3, consent
Yes, sir,
agenda,
consent
right?
agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda, will be considered separately.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for approval as being recommended by staff.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That carries. Moving on to item 4 on the regular agenda.
Yes, item 4A is Resolution 2025-63. Consideration and authorization for staff to negotiate a professional service agreement with the top-ranked firm to provide environmental and engineering services for sections A West, C, E, and F of the Hidalgo County Loop System. Chairman, directors, we solicited statements of qualifications or requests for qualifications in July of this year. We received 6 responses to the request for statements of qualifications. The staff, in accordance with our policy and procedures as adopted by the Board of Directors, we rated and ranked those firms based on the statements of qualifications they submitted. There's a memo in your packet that shows the order. They're ranked from 1 to 6. On the next page of your memo, there's an Exhibit A, which shows the criteria and the weight or the points that each firm was graded on. there was 6 areas that they were rated on based on what they submitted. On the following page, you'll see the evaluators' scores for each firm. And that is the basis of the ranking of the firms. So at this time, staff is recommending that we be authorized to negotiate a professional service agreement with the top ranked firm, which is Consor Engineering, and then bring back a professional service agreement for the board's consideration and award.
Can we take this to executive session? I have a couple concerns I'd like to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Yep. We'll then,
Second.
You're gonna move to table after the executive
To
session?
discuss it in exec, yes.
Yeah, we don't need any motions on it.
You just move it to
We don't need a
executive
motion to,
No,
we just move on.
yeah, okay. We're taking no action. Okay. Next item then.
Next item is 4B, Resolution 2025-64, consideration and approval of contract amendment number 3 to the professional service agreement with SWG Engineering to increase the maximum payable amount and the time extension to provide construction inspection services for the Hidalgo County Irrigation District Number 2 improvements as part of the 365 Tollway project. So we've been going, we've hired a third party to do the inspection on the irrigation work. That's a specialized area. So SWG has been our inspector of record for the life of the project. And we've been going approximately 1 year at a time with them in anticipation that the irrigation improvements would have been completed by now. But we need to extend their contract and that it's an increase of $45,000 to their contract. Which takes their maximum payable amount to $185,000. Staff recommends approval.
Are there any material changes to the agreement or we're just extending?
We're just extending it.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that item passed. Next, we're going to item 5A.
Yes, sir. I believe you need to entertain a motion to remove it from the table so we can consider it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Entertain a motion to remove this item from the table so that it can be considered by the board.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Motion to
Thank
remove
you.
from the table.
Second.
There's a motion to remove from the table. All those in favor vote aye. Opposed, same sign.
So,
All right, back on. Thank you.
Item 5A is Resolution 2025-56, consideration and approval of amendment to the policies and procedures governing procurement of goods and services by the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. Chairman, directors, in your packet are revisions to our policies and procedures for procurement. The items that have been changed or revised are noted in red. There have been some cleanup that Blakely performed on some the definitions that are listed in our procurement procedures. Definitions such as construction, liquidated damages, specialty items. But the biggest change to the procurement policy is that in the last legislative session, the legislature authorized local governments, which the authority is, to increase their procurement without going out for formal bids from $50,000 to $100,000. And so we're just asking our policy to be brought in line with state statute. Prior to this, our procurement was $50,000 in alignment with state statute. And now we're recommending that it be increased to $100,000.
There's a lot of discussion at the last meeting about this. We have the authority to go up to $100,000, but it doesn't say we have to, correct?
That is correct.
Are you proposing that the staff will have the power to spend $100,000 without coming to the directors first, or you're allowed to present it to us, we vote on it without having to go out for procurement?
So the way that Blakely has structured it, let me go to the section, which will be section 8.1. let me see. I believe it's 8.2. 8.2, which is purchasing threshold amounts. The authority may procure general goods and services costing $100,000 or less by such a method and on such terms as the executive director determines to be in the best interest of the authority. General goods and services costing more than 100,000 shall be procured using competitive bidding or competitive seal proposals. And then larger procurements may not be divided into smaller. So that's the meat and potatoes of that. But if you also go to section 9.3 that talks about contract amounts, and this deals with consulting services. The other section deals with goods and services. We have to buy copiers or a server, such. There's a section that details consulting services, which is 9.3. Again, we may procure consulting services anticipated to cost no more than $100,000 by such methods determined by the executive director. Looking for the language, but there's language in here that basically says I have to go to the executive board, which is the chairman, the vice chairman, and the secretary treasurer for approval. Blakely, do you remember what? Yeah,
Because when I'm reading it, 8.1 says you only have to come to us for anything over
over
100,000.
100,000, yeah. Yeah, right now, we come to the board for anything over 50,000.
And what's the need for that?
Actually, once we go into operations in a year from now, be for things such as repairs. Give some examples. Let's say we have pavement failures and we need to get the contractor to come in and do repairs. Guardrail is damaged because of an accident. We have poles that are knocked down because of accidents. Lightning strikes on, I mean, could be a litany of anything. That would be generally what we would use that to go out and be able to do repairs to our system if warranted.
But Pilar, you just described matters that I would consider emergencies. Don't you have the authority to do that anyway? And then come back and get approval by the board? If you've got an emergency, if you've got a gaping hole on the highway, surely you don't have to come to the board to get approval.
So in accordance with the local government code, yes, sir, we do. In our policy, our procurement policy, I don't have that authority. And so we've been abiding by the policy adopted by the board. So I'll give you an example. We need to, a couple months back, we needed to do some emergency bypass pumping. And I had to come to the board first before we were able to execute that contract to do that bypass pumping.
That's for the 365?
For the 365, we had to do.
That's the project. We're getting into a new arena here.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any roads that we're driving on now.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna have roads that will require maintenance, so maybe the policies do need to change.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to suggest. I think those are two different things.
Yes, sir.
I mean, procurement of something that the RMA needs, in my opinion, is completely different than an emergency. And so if the policy doesn't allow the executive director to make that repair, we need to change it.
And
In my
I
opinion.
think that's a logical way of handling it. For emergencies, things like that, yes. But if you want to buy a new server.
I mean, the board can establish whatever threshold, is like Director Rodriguez pointed out, you can establish whatever threshold. You can make that 100,000, up to 100,000 in accordance with state law. You can make it 75,000. You can leave it at 50 where it is right now. It's really the board's discretion.
Yeah, I'd recommend it just for emergencies. So we don't lose control, because $100,000 for each time, that adds up real quick. And then we won't know what's going on.
Mhm.
We may not know for a month how much money we've spent.
So if I'm understanding or hearing properly, Director, then it would be basically leaving it like it is, but making sure that there's language that an emergency can be tended to as needed if there's not language there that already allows that.
Right. Correct.
All right, I'm good with that, if that's good with everybody, so, Blakely? I think it'd be fine to just direct the change and make the change. We're not taking action to change what we have. We're just adding to it that change, so. Is that good, Javier? Very good. So do we need any action?
I think you need a motion to that.
Okay.
Could you just to clarify, maybe stipulate emergencies, maybe some examples of what emergencies would be, just to clarify the policy?
Is that
Say
outlined?
emergencies including, just so maybe we can give you a little direction, or you can just provide us some
So
direction. around
I
policy.
believe there's a
defined in the state
definition
law?
for emergencies in the local government code that we
Yeah.
can put
Okay,
into our
great.
policy.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, very good. Next item.
Chairman Director, next item is 5B. It's also tabled. Recommend you entertain a motion to remove from the table.
Do you hear a motion?
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to remove item 5B from, or put on the table. So all those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, what is 5B?
This is Resolution 2025-58, consideration and approval of an interlocal agreement between the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority and the Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority to provide tolling services, also known as back office services, for the 365 Tollway project. As you recall from the presentation by Andrew, this is the formal agreement between Hidalgo County RMA and Cameron County RMA to provide those back office services. Staff is recommending approval.
Do I hear a motion?
Quick question. So that I'm clear, so there's no cost to the Hidalgo County RMA for this operation up to a certain amount of revenue. I think it was $7 million. However, if there's any personnel addition, then those costs are directed to us.
That is correct.
And how are we going to derive what that cost is, what we need? Somebody brought it up.
That'll be, that cost share will be based on the number of transactions. So it's kind of like you referred to a pro rata share, for lack of a better word. The number of transactions will dictate how the cost is split.
But I think the other part of that question is who gets to decide? Does Cameron County have the authority to tell us we're going to assign 3 new people to each
No,
share, or do we have to agree?
it's not unilateral. We have to agree to it before they can implement it.
So if we want 2 CSRs, we just have 2 CSRs.
Yes.
Not 4.
Yes,
They're recommended.
right. They can't unilaterally add more personnel without our approval.
Correct? Correct. Okay. I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Item 5B.
Okay, I hear a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor vote aye. Opposed, same sign. That carries. Next item.
Okay,
Pilar.
Chairman, recommend you entertain a motion to enter into executive session for item 4A. 6A, 6B, and 6L.
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Executive session then. We do have Director Angel, right, that will hang and call back in. All right, thank you. Executive session. Yeah, he's on Zoom.
You didn't say anything all night?
No, he's there. I've been watching. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, I need a
Make a motion to
Motion.
return to a regular session.
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Back to regular session.
Yes, sir.
The item that,
For A.
4A,
Chairman, directors recommend you entertain a motion to table this item for a future board meeting to interview the respondents.
So move.
Second.
all those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It's on the table. Okay, do we have anything else, Pilar?
We have no further business for the board's consideration.
Okay, well, before we adjourn, visitors in the room, people who came to present, et cetera, we're appreciative. Thank you all very much. And we look forward to continuing this process. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Motion and second. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you all.